welcome back to Talking Shop.
I'm Essen.
I'm Emily.
And we're back from our hiatus.
Yeah. It'd be like that sometimes.
Things got really busy over here, and I got sick, and we were doing some cool stuff with the community, and we are chairs of a festival that our church does that is coming up in October, actually 2 months from today.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been busy.
Sometimes it'd be like that. We'd rather put out something of quality than to feel like we're just pumping out episodes.
Yeah, we did sit down to record at some point in the distant past, and we just weren't feeling it. And I think for us, we would rather maybe like not turn out as much work as we would want, but it be of a good quality.
Yeah.
Than put out bad stuff.
Weekly is the aspiration. And
so stay tuned to see how we do. But honestly, maybe we need like another milestone, because when we were trying to get to 8, we were like very determined, and then once we did that, we were like, okay. Oh, my water's upstairs.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna go get it.
Okay. Pause.
Okay. Oh my gosh. I have coffee, but I have this, like, what's it called? A Java sock, but I think I was ambitious when I ordered it, because this one is a large, and I never get, or what, like a venti, whatever.
Yeah.
I never get that size except for on my birthday when it's free. So I bought too big of a pouch, and
I think we had a hard time estimating the size.
Yeah, so Java sock, if you're out there and you want to sponsor me.
But it does fit a pint of ice cream.
It does. Not as well as the pint holder things that exist. And if you are a brand that makes the pint holder things, we would also be interested in collabing.
Coffee review.
Tell the viewers what it is.
It's a grande ice shaken espresso with blonde espresso.
Always.
2 pumps of white chocolate mocha. 1 pump of raspberry syrup with a raspberry cold foam.
Yum. I would also like to acknowledge that we do have an espresso, and 95% of the time I make coffee at home. But if Emily has to like go out and run an errand, Emily runs errands in our house, because if I do, I'm gone for 7 hours.
You're never coming back.
Yeah, so Emily runs, like, if there's any quick trips that need to be taken, like, it will not be me, because of that. I have no concept of time. And if she goes, then we all get a little treat.
Yeah. Well, I took our dog Monty to get his nails trimmed. So I picked up tea. I went to Starbucks. He got a pup cup.
Yeah, so
we had to go get his medicine.
Because I know, like, we're not, like, super big supporters of Starbucks anymore, but...
No. Plus, we had gift cards, so...
Yeah.
We didn't pay a dime.
Money was already spent. I always feel guilty. I'll be like, sorry, sometimes I go to Chick-fil-A. I know.
Started the morning with everyone got a little treat.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All right, let's get into it.
Get into our game?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna play Work Wife, Work Nemesis, Work Overlord.
We each give 3 characters, I guess.
Characters, objects.
I don't know, we've done holidays. You get 3 choices of something.
Yeah. Honestly, guys, it's becoming hard. We're running out of ideas.
I'm trying to keep notes of, like, all the ones we've already done, but at this point, if there's a repeat, mind your business.
For real. We're gonna decide which one we want to be our work wife, or, like, our work bestie, our work nemesis, which is pretty self-explanatory, and our work overlord, which would be, like, our boss.
The best boss to work for.
D-Dom. Okay. I guess I can go first. He just wanted to hang out.
Okay, you can stay. You're perfect.
Well, if you're watching the video version of our podcast, you will see that our dog has joined us. His barking that you will not hear because we edited it out was because he wanted to be on this tiny couch with us.
It's literally the smallest couch known to man. I don't know why, but
it's nice to be wanted.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, back to our game. I'm going to pick 3 of the New York Times games.
Okay. Do you remember their names?
I do.
Okay.
Wordle.
Mm-hmm.
Connections.
Okay.
And Pips.
Pips is the dominoes?
Yes.
Okay. Work Overlord. I'm picking Wordle.
Mm-hmm.
It has been here the longest.
Okay.
Which comes with some level of authority.
You're giving it tenure?
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay.
It has done such good work that other people have come with new games. It's inspired. Actually, I guess the crossword technically was first, but I don't really like crosswords. So they're kind of like that, like the person that like is aging out, but like we continue to honor them.
Yep.
Because of their contribution.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Wordle is my work overlord because love. And then we have Pips. Pips is the newest one.
New girl on the street.
Yeah, and then you said Connections.
Yeah.
Connections is challenging,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like hard, but you don't want to stop, kind of thing. Like I like it, so I think I would make Connections my work wife because I want something that challenges me, but that I still enjoy. I don't want something that like is so hard that I'm like not having a good time, or something that's like way too easy.
Yeah.
And Pips is fine, but honestly, sometimes, especially when it's been a long day and it's at night, like I get V frustrated, so that would be my nemesis.
Okay. I could have sworn you were gonna make Connections your nemesis.
No, I love Connections.
You get so irritated.
I know, but then like when you get it, I just feel incredible. Like I feel on top of the world when I do well.
Okay.
He's like, ladies, I left. So are you coming?
He's staring into a mirror, which I think means he's gained consciousness.
He does that. Okay. So now it's my turn. And I am going to pick 3 of our dog's toys.
Okay.
Which I guess we can insert pictures in. That'd be cute.
Yeah.
There you go, editor. So I am picking the bear, the big one that he like carries in his mouth. It's so freaking cute. Lamb chop. I feel like everybody has a lamb chop, but specifically ours is the Christmas one. And lastly is that pickle, the big pickle.
Okay. Work wife is gonna be the bear. No. Just kidding. I'm gonna revise my statement. Work overlord is gonna be the bear. And here's why.
Okay.
Reliable. An OG, been here very similarly to Wordle since the very beginning.
Today we're honoring tenure.
The seniority, I guess, is the word. Yeah. The bear is from the brand Fluff and Tough, which right now is the only toy brand that has been able to withstand to him whipping it around.
Yes.
And pulling at it. Highly recommend. Can withstand a lot. We love a resilient work leader.
Facts.
Can go through the ups and downs.
But doesn't pretend like nothing happened.
Right.
Because bear's got some wear and tear.
Correct. I'm gonna make the pickle my work wife because just like comical. I love it.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, but like in the best way possible.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then I like lamb chop. I know that lamb chop, like, that is a dog toy a lot of people have.
Just a cog in the machine.
Well, lamb chop is going to be my nemesis because that is the toy I've had to buy the most of. I keep having to buy more because he keeps breaking them.
Oh.
They fall apart at the seams. They don't last very long.
So, they're replaceable.
Yeah, well, they're my nemesis because I've spent the most money on it.
Yeah.
Turnover.
Yeah, nobody wants that.
So, yeah, I think those would be my choices.
Slay. Love.
Killed it.
Okay, we're back.
What are we talking about today?
Okay, well, we had a little baby chat before where we planned out semi. Honestly, we like brought up one single topic and decided that we would talk about that. But if you live in Florida, specifically in our area of Sarasota, which is, I guess, north, kind of like right on the county line, between Sarasota and Manatee. It has been raining as if we are in the middle of a hurricane for weeks.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
I think a lot, like around my birthday, we talked about we bought like this cutesy baby pool from Sam's Club. We did not spend any time really in the baby pool because it kept raining so much that we kept having to like dump it out and refill it and blah blah blah. Anyway, it's been raining a lot.
And not just like rain, but like
downpour. Like loud thunder, lightning. We have like a what's it? A chimney?
Yeah.
Like a fireplace situation that is blocked off, but it's still like older. So when there's like wind and stuff, we can hear it inside. It's really like spooky. It's just not a good time. And I was thinking how when Emily and I first got together and I kind of saw you with the thunderstorms, like it used to be very like consuming. Like if we were out at the store and it started thunderstorming, like we were going home because Monty would get really like freaked out. And like he would like go in the closet and he would shake and he'd just be like so scared and we just kind of had to like wait it out. And then there was a thunderstorm yesterday where like we both jumped into action. I don't even think we really realized that we had developed systems, but I feel like thunderstorms have gotten so much easier because we know exactly like what we're gonna do.
I think we have built systems like I think that's the thing that happens a lot. Systems get built like unintentionally.
Yeah.
That you find like behaviors that work really well or things that like do a really good job at like mitigating the impact of something. And you start to compile enough and you start like having like you start knowing what works well and like certain periods of time and that you like unconsciously kind of like build the system, especially like when you live with somebody. I think that makes it like easier too, that like you both know what's going to work and you both like trust that the other person has enough understanding of the system to be able to do something. And so like
and we built the system.
Yeah.
Like I didn't come in and you were like, this is what we do. Yeah. Which like I guess if you would have done that, like that still would have been helpful. But I think if you would have only been open and like receptive to your thoughts about how to handle it and never like listen to me, then some of the things that we do like wouldn't happen because like you wouldn't have considered my voice. So in the context of like a team, like a lot of times you come in and like there's already systems established. And so people sometimes like if you have a leader or a person that's like managing that had like developed that system, they feel like I don't know, like weirdly like protective or something over it and are like not receptive. And I think that's something that we do well is we like listen to the input not just of like each other but of outside people too.
Well, I think it's hard to feel ownership over a system you did not have a hand in creating.
Yeah.
That like you can feel like you know the system and that you can like enact on a plan or a sequence of behaviors. But I think it's hard to have like ownership over it when it feels like somebody else's decisions led up to it. Like I think like with Monty, that if I came in and I said, this is how we handle thunderstorms, that if something happened and like I wasn't here and whatever was like going to be effective wasn't working, you would call you would call me.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, hey, this thing like isn't working, what do I do next? Instead of feeling like you have enough knowledge over like not only what you're supposed to be like doing or like what's helpful, but like why it's helpful. And I think that's a huge part of like being present when systems are being built. Is it's one thing to know what you're supposed to be doing. It's another thing to fully understand like why the thing you're doing is actually helpful, because it allows you to like pivot and come up with alternatives. If you understand like the reason behind the behavior, it allows you to be able to like find a lot more alternatives because you understand the root piece of it. But if all you know is the behavior, then the minute that particular like thing you're trained to do stops being effective, you either have to do the whole process of understanding the why, which you lose like valuable time while something's happening, or you have to call somebody else in, which also uses up time.
Yeah, well, and like I think so some of the things that we do, I guess if you're a dog owner, this might be helpful, is when there's a thunderstorm, the very first thing that we reach for is like a calming chew. I don't know.
It's like
the brand. It's like a hemp chew. Puppy weed.
Yeah, it's like hemp, peppermint, melatonin, and L-theanine.
Yeah. And, like, that is, like, the very first step. So if there's a thunderstorm and one of us is unavailable or doing something, whatever, but the other one's not, like, that is the very first thing. So if I come in and there's, like, a thunderstorm happening, I can just kind of, like, look at Emily and be like, did you already give him a calming chew?
Mhm.
We both know that that's step one. And then if his behavior, like, continues to kind of show that he's scared and he doesn't calm down, the next thing that we do is
His headphones.
headphones. So Monty has the cutest headphones. And these didn't even come from us.
My mom.
Yes. Hi, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. So she found them, I don't know, Amazon or something.
Yeah. Well, she found originally.
I think I have the picture of the original. It looked like a ski mask.
Kind of. It was like the original, like, one was just like this, like, head cover thing that was supposed to, like,
Muffle the sound.
muffle the sound. He looked so sad.
We'll have
Like
to find
a
that picture.
Walking ASPCA commercial.
He was so upset
Oh
with
my god,
us.
so upset. So now he has these, like, they're like Bluetooth.
They're like literal Bluetooth headphones.
They're Bluetooth headphones. They're really cute. He looks like the person that, like, guides an airplane into its landing spot. But we can sync them up to, like, our phone with the Bluetooth, and we play, like, dog calming music through it, and that way, like, that is the sound that is being, like, pumped into his ears, and not, like, the thunderstorms and stuff like that. Or we'll just play it around the house, but
yeah, depending on, like, what's going on.
Depending on how aggressive the thunder is.
Yeah, but, like, that is something that if I came down and I saw that Monty had his headphones on, then I would know that he already got a calming chew and that he was playing, like, listening to the headphones. So I could jump right in and kind of take over from there if I needed to, and we wouldn't even have to talk about it.
Yeah. And then we put him under a blanket.
We put him under a blanket, and, like, that was something that I did that I don't think you would have thought of, just because, like, that's not how you think. That I just kind of did it because I don't know if that's what I like, just to try it, and it ended up being really helpful. And so we added it into the routine, and, like, we still review, like, after thunderstorms and stuff, not every single time, but we'll be like, okay, like, I think we're doing a good job. To this day, even though we have a system down, we continue to look for ways to, like, improve it.
Yeah. Well, I think another, like, important piece of, like, context as to, like, why a system like this matters so much in our house, too, is because our dog has something called Addison's disease, which means that his body doesn't produce cortisol. And so he's on, like, a steroid every single day to, like, help match up what his, like, body is supposed to be producing.
Yeah.
But the struggle with that is that, like, when something stressful happens, his body isn't naturally going to produce more cortisol to, like, handle the stress. So if we don't help him manage, like, stress, then he has, like, the potential to go into shock or, like, go into, like, an Addisonian crisis. And so it became...
Which can be, like, life-threatening.
Yeah. And it became really important in, like, our house that we develop a system to, like, address stress as quickly as possible, because it has, like, health implications for him. Like, I think for a lot of people, like, your dog might get scared during a thunderstorm, but, like, you don't have a whole...
He'll get over it.
You don't have a whole protocol. But so I think, like, context is also important as to, like, why a system like that is so important in our house, but it might not be important in, like, another home.
Yeah, in another house.
And I also think, too, another piece of, like, really important context was understanding his, like, role in our family system.
Yeah.
And, like, a hierarchy. Because Monty is part border collie, part lab. He has, like, working dog in him, and anyone who owns a working dog knows that, like, a working dog needs a job. And so, like, for him and, like, his personality, understanding how he relates to, like, both of us in a hierarchy as, like, part of his, like, pack became really important. That, oh, okay, like, in a thunderstorm, like, I at least need to be on the floor with him if I'm home. And
because Emily had him first, and so, like, that is his mom. That is where he goes for, like, safety and when he's scared and everything. And so I don't try to fulfill that same role because she's doing it and she's doing it well.
Yeah. But then if, like, the thunderstorm starts to get bad, you also need to be on the floor, too.
Because he thinks I'm his little brother. And it stresses him out if I'm out and about, because then he can't settle because he doesn't know that I'm safe.
Yeah. So, like, we know for him, like, feeling like the pack of all of us is protected also became a way to reduce stress. So, like, that was something you and I noticed observing how he interacts with
each of
us. Is like I was observing how he was interacting with you, and you were doing the same for me. And like in the like debrief process, you and I were able to like take those two kind of like pieces of information and be like, oh, this is where we need to like make adjustments here and there.
Yeah, and it was like a lot of it was hypothetical. We were just kind of guessing until we tried it out, and we were like, oh, that worked. And then we kept doing it.
Yeah.
And so now, like, we don't have to talk. We just jump into action. And, like, I think it made the house a lot more peaceful because it would stress Emily out that Monty was stressed out, and it would stress me out that she was so stressed out. And it created, like, a really bad vibes, for lack of better terms. Like, and everybody was stressed out for the duration of the storm.
Well, I think you and I had seen the impact. He's never like gone into a crisis because of a thunderstorm, but we have seen him go into crisis and have been sitting in the emergency vet, not knowing if our dog was gonna like survive.
Yeah.
And so I think like you and I both knew
what we were trying to like avoid,
prevent, which I think is also an important part of like building a system. Is I think you should feel what it feels like when there is no system in place, or when like the wrong system is in place. That if we have an awareness of this like negative outcome and we know how it impacts us, there's a huge motivation to like figure it out.
Yeah. And I think like when we were kind of talking about like how we wanted to talk about or what we wanted to do this episode on, like that was something that really stuck out. We're in the midst of doing a couple of different like working with different organizations and part of an initiative in our community that is adapting, if you've heard of the Harwood Institute, that is using their model in our community. And so we're part of the team for that. And they handed us, I mean, a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah.
And that's been like research based and everything. But we also recognize that like a system can work really well, and it still requires an awareness of what that means for you. And I think that in a lot of organizations, there's a couple that we're working with that have like larger staff. It's like you need some type of pattern, you need some type of protocol, you need systems that you can like take and hand off to another person, you know, on their first day, and they can like understand it. But if you try to come up with a system without the input of the people that are going to be using it, without context, without knowing like what the point of it is and the goal, without the situation ever like happening and trying to fine tune from there and trying to just be like, this is going to be the most beautiful system ever. And then expecting it to work the first time, like all of those things
without a debrief.
Yeah. No, like ongoing, no input from anybody else, no kind of like hypothesizing and testing, then your systems are just a page in your manual that nobody's going to use. And also people are going to depend on whoever came up with the system in the first place to always be the person that's like managing any variation or deviation from the expected way that things are going, which is time consuming, but also I think the source of a lot of like unsafety in like, I guess, relational, but also in like real life, because if you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, like I don't want the fire department putting out a fire and then somebody like not knowing what like that is overwhelming. So that's like the source of a lot of tension and like not performance issues, I guess, in organizations when you have systems but you don't have them the correct way.
I think the goal of a system inherently is to reduce like burden. That it is meant to like, our brains love to automate stuff. Like our brains, so much has to go right in our brain for us to like take a breath.
Yeah.
That like our brain is constantly like using up resources and just like it takes a lot of energy for our brain just to like brain. And so because of that, our brain loves structure, organization, categories, and like sequences. And it loves patterns, because once it has a pattern, it can like go on autopilot for something. And so I think we all have a tendency to like attempt to be efficient or attempt to create like protocols or systems, because we are all trying to like reduce like burden on our resources.
Of course, like we're tired.
Right. And I think like we talk about this with so many of the organizations that we work with too, is if you don't have something to ensure that like things are coming off people's plates, that like not everything requires like your full attention all the time, or like not everything is completed by one person, that there is like a need for systems to be in place to ensure that like what is happening does not live and die with whoever is in that one specific role at that one specific time. The struggle with the system is also that it exists in the context of whoever created it. And if it is not treated as like a living document that can be updated and is meant to be looked at and meant to be changed and questioned, that I think a lot of people work really hard to create systems that they're proud of. I know I'm like guilty of this. Is like I work really hard to create a system that I'm proud of. And then when somebody comes back and like asks a question about it, it feels like they're questioning like your competence or like the thing you came up with. But I think for a system to endure past the person who created it, you need a system that is meant to be treated as like a living document or a living plan. But oftentimes that it might be created to take something off that person's plate, but when a new person comes into their role, they like trash the whole system and like try and come up with a new one, or they just don't use it anymore, or they use it but they don't understand the context within which it was created. And there's a lot of opportunities for that the level of structure a system can bring to feel constrictive, not supportive.
Yeah, and I do this a lot with the people that I work with that have ADHD. Like, we talk a lot about systems because, like you said, the goal of systems is to make it where you don't have to sit there and, like, use brain power for stuff to get done. And I think that for people, when, like, thinking about some of my clients, where they're like, just use a planner. And like when the system is just like presented as this like overly simplistic, like just follow the protocol, without an understanding of like who is supposed to be involved in the system, then you miss a lot. Like, I think some of the limitations, even like for me, is I don't think in a way where I sit down and I plan and then it's over. My brain is constantly going. So a planner doesn't work for me.
Yep.
And if like our household was like, we're just going to be like a planner based home, you would be so annoyed with me because I would never use it because that's not how my brain works. And I would be annoyed because you're expecting me to function in a way that I just don't function.
Yeah.
And then what's the point of having like this rigidity around the system if nobody's going to use it? And the biggest like marker of if a system works is if your life gets easier. If it doesn't get easier, then your system sucks. And a lot of times we have these systems that are like convoluted and unnecessary because they're not actually like, if like the thing that you need to accomplish by the system has all these like extra things that you don't actually need to have in place. One of the things that's coming to mind is like shift change logs or like that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Where you know, if you have a first shift and then you have a second shift, the point of that like transition is that the people that are coming in need to know what has happened since they've been here last. And there are places where you'll have 80,000 binders full of like notes that people make. There will be emails that get sent, or like this full shift report thing, or it'll be some information's done in email, or some's in this like document, or some stuff's in this folder, and you have to go 8 million places. But I also worked at a place where every Wednesday was when the shift change was. There was a 1 hour overlap where everybody that was relevant went in, broke up into their little teams, did announcements, and talked. There was no documentation needed. There was nothing like that. But the information got from point A to point B and everybody was in the loop. And I think like we can add this like structure and all of these requirements around things, but that doesn't accomplish the goal. It actually undermines and makes it less likely that you're going to accomplish your goal. And it's annoying for no reason.
Yeah, well, I think a system or like a standard operating procedure does not have to be this overly complex, like multi 18-step protocol. That sometimes a system is knowing what like your first, second, third options are, or knowing like what plan A and plan B are, or even just like having a conversation about like potential barriers that you might address and like how to work around those barriers.
Questions to consider, like what are all the factors that you need to consider in making a decision about this,
right,
without telling you what decision to come to.
Right. Well, and I think a system is only as good as the people who are like passing it down. And I think for a lot of people, I'm sure like a lot of people listening to this, there have been workplaces that you have walked into. You've been handed a manual with like a standard operating procedure, and then the person training you says, I don't do that, I do it this way.
Yeah, this is what you're supposed to do, but this is what I do.
Right. And so what gets passed down is
what works.
Well, it's the SOP in the manual, but the living knowledge of what is getting passed down does not reflect what's in the manual. And that can only sustain for as long as like you have like an oral history of what's been happening. Right. But if people are like, oh, I don't want to bring it to management because like I'm going to get in trouble for not doing it in the way of the book, then like we have a huge disconnect between what like management believes is like happening, and if like management was asked to train somebody compared to like a current employee, you would have two employees with very different ideas of how a system is run, which creates disconnect, which makes it hard to address problems in real time, because now you're spending a meeting arguing about why something wasn't done according to the manual instead of actually addressing what's happening.
Whatever was done and what needed to be done.
And something that was meant to actually reduce burden has now added an incredible amount of burden to the system.
To everyone, yeah. And I think, like, it is so silly, I think, if there are more efficient ways to accomplish the same goals and retain the value of whatever that may be, why would you not want to hear about that? Like, I think as a manager, or I think even as a therapist, like, when my clients come back and they're like, oh, girl, like, I found this app, and it's, like, dope, and you would love it to manage your own ADHD. If I, like, decided that I wanted to be the expert, so there's no point in, like, listening to what they share, I wouldn't know half the stuff I know. Like, they know it better than I do because I'm not always working. I have all these resources, but I'm not always using them 1,000% of the time, especially, like, as you advance in different organizations, and maybe you move from like a direct service to a more like leadership or administrative role, you're removed from how that goes. And if you're not listening to the people that are making, like, they're improving the process, truthfully, and trying to protect what you built, like, that is undermining your own goals, which is strange, like, for ego.
Yeah. Well, and I think any system should start with like 2 anchor points. It's what is initiating, like, what is the initiating reason for building a system?
Yeah, like, when do we do this?
So, like, what's the problem, or like what is the context in which we would need to address it? And you have like that anchor point, and at the end your anchor point should be, what do we want the outcome to be, or how do we want to feel, or what is the natural like output? Yeah, what is like the resolution or like the output of the situation? And whatever is in the middle is the thing that helps you get from your starting point to your end point.
Yes. And, like, it should directly, like, every step should actually contribute to something.
Right.
In that, like, train of events. So if there's unnecessary steps, then remove those if they're not accomplishing the goal. Or if you have one system that is trying to accomplish too many outcomes, then you need multiple systems. You need to get more specific, or you need to, like, chill out about what outcomes you actually care about. I think that's another thing that's really important with systems, is you cannot have 8 million systems, because then it's overwhelming and people are not going to use it. And it's only a shortcut if it's actually a shortcut.
Well, I think a large majority of the time, too, if you go back and, like, look at the systems that are working, like, pretty ineffectively, that the majority of the time there is something worth keeping from those systems. That, like, we also, like, I think it's a situation that a lot of organizations run into, like, this, like, never-ending cycle of, is, like, they create a system, and then the system stops working, so that they, like, throw it out completely and attempt to start from scratch again.
I'm guilty of that.
And I think, like, that's how it feels in the moment, is like, oh, that's ineffective. Let me just, like, jump into whatever I need to be doing, or, like, you know, let me start from scratch again. And we miss the opportunity to, like, pay attention not only to, like, these parts as they contribute to the outcome, but these parts as into, like, individual elements of, like, what makes sense to keep. So how do we, like, renovate a system instead of, like, tear one down and try and build one up? Because that also takes a lot of resources, too.
Yeah, and typically, like, simplifying is always, like, a strategy. Like, what is the most important to keep? And then get rid of that.
Very rarely will making it more complex lead to a better outcome.
Yeah. And I think sometimes, like, you can just change, like, the context of the environment. Like, maybe it's an environmental thing that is undermining the system. I think one that comes up a lot, and this happened when we were working in facilities too, is like there is a process that you were supposed to follow, but the process is not accessible in the situation and when you need to use the process. So like example that you can relate to, I don't know if people that are listening can, but like suicide. Like if somebody discloses that they're suicidal, and there's a process that we have to go to as clinicians to say, okay, like, do I need to hospitalize this person? Do I need a safety plan? Like, do I need, what do I do? And if I'm sitting in my office when somebody discloses this, it's cake. Like, I just pull up my little file, we get to work, and like all is well. But let's say I'm out on a walk or we're playing kickball someplace, and now you're standing on third base, like, yo, by the way, like, I want to kill myself. If I don't have that information with me, then like everything falls apart. And I think simplifying makes it where people can actually like recall that information because it's 3 steps or something like that compared to 8,000.
The people yearn for an acronym.
We love an acronym. I love an acronym because we want to remember stuff. Like, it's pointless. I feel like protocols and that kind of thing are pointless, and systems just in general are not effective if the worst version of the person using it can't make it work. And I think that I talk about this a lot with my clients, and I remind myself of this a lot, is that like my systems are designed to work for the worst version of me, not the best.
Can you define worst version of you a little bit more?
Yes. For me, having like a chronic illness, having ADHD, and, just my brain is busy, like, I can have a beautiful system for how to do things that only works when I have had 8 hours of sleep and I'm in a good mood and I'm feeling healthy and well and energized. Like, in those situations, of course I could follow that system. I could probably follow any system under those conditions. But if I've had 1 hour of sleep and I have a headache and I'm in the worst mood ever and I'm in an argument with you and my phone's dead and I stepped in a puddle, if that version of me can't do the system, then it doesn't matter because the systems are there to compensate for what our brains don't want to do, don't have the energy to do, or can't do. And if I can't use that at my least resourced, then what's the point of it? Because my best self will be able to, I could think through the process and access all of the things that I need and make a great informed choice. But that's not when I need those skills.
For sure. Well, I think the system can also get more complex in a way as our capacity increases. That, like, you don't have to have 3 completely different systems for, like, 3 different energy levels.
Right.
But you have a system, like you said, like, for the worst version of you, like, the least amount of capacity. And the expectations or the steps in the system increase.
Right.
As your capacity increases. But I think when people build systems, oftentimes they are like either so at the end of their rope that they don't think and like take the time to like think through capacity, or they are so excited about the potential that something is going to be different that they build a system off of that high and are not grounded in the reality of like the day to day.
Yeah. So I think like, if let's say that you're HR or a CEO or something like that, if I were you and having you do like a review of systems, the very first thing that I would be wanting to know, and you can even test this out with like a family member or something, is could somebody with 0 experience in your organization follow that plan?
Not even like do it, but can they follow the sequence?
Yeah, could they understand? Like if it says go to this drawer, like, is it clearly marked enough to where somebody who had never been there could find it?
Yeah.
And would they be able to follow step by step? And like, if no, then you need to provide some clarity to that thing. And I think, like, so I guess somebody with no experience, could somebody that is not normally operating in a role, but stepped in for any reason, like, you know, somebody stepped down or a manager had to fill in or a volunteer had to do something, like, could they do it outside of their normal day-to-day duties, or would it like completely throw them off? Would be, you know, another thing. And I think, could somebody on their worst days, lowest energy, brain fog, not feeling well, not feeling jazzed about the work that they're doing, like, could they do it? And if no, then you need to add in, that is where we add in like support or extra details or things like that to fill in the gaps of capacity and like brain power, not to make it look more complex than it is for funsies.
Right. Then we go back and ask the question of like, why does the system exist in the first place? And what was it intended to accomplish? And that's where you get feedback from the people who are using the system. You get feedback from people who are responsible for helping like build and maintain it. And you really start to like, I think most things can be accomplished if we approach it from a state of curiosity. That if we can just be curious about what is it supposed to do, is it working? If it is, what is going right? If it is not, what is going wrong? And if we can understand those, if we can get answers to those questions, then we can do a lot with that information, because most of the time by asking questions, you will get the answers on how to write the system.
Yeah, I think a cool activity, I guess, would be if you like had everybody in the room and you were like, okay, how do you write up an intake report, let's say? And you had everybody in the room sit there and numbered list of like step by step what they do. And then look and compare. And there will be themes that emerge that everybody is like on the same page about. And even if that's not what you thought they should be doing, if that's what everybody's doing, the easiest system and like the least amount of friction is going to be to take that as step one. Even if, like, unless there are like specific things that people are overlooking, but usually if that's what everybody's recalling, that's what they're doing anyway. Build the system around what's already happening and how people actually work, not how you think they should or could work.
Well, I think an important distinction when you build a system is knowing the difference between complex and detailed.
Ooh, tell us.
Oh, I was like, as you were talking, I was thinking about inevitably, like, once a year on TikTok, you always get the TikToks of the English teachers who had their students write out the directions on like how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and then the English teacher like acts out the sequence as the kids
That's cute.
wrote it. And a complex sequence is one that has like many steps to it, or a lot of steps that require like a lot of different like behaviors or context or people,
like interpretation involved. Actions, like it should have one verb.
I think detailed means we're being really intentional about how we're communicating what is expected in those steps,
like specificity,
right? Because like in like the assignment that I've seen a lot of English teachers like give their students, it's like get 2 pieces of bread, but the first instruction was never to like undo the twist tie on the bag. Okay, now take the twist tie off. Now open up the bag. Now like take out 2 pieces of bread. And it's like you have to be really intentional, because if like the instructions say like put the peanut butter on the bread, you'll watch the teacher take the jar of peanut butter and just put it on the bread. Because there was not,
it didn't say like spread it with a knife or,
well, you just take the, like, it never said to even open the jar, take peanut butter out of the jar. You just said put the peanut butter on the bread. And so I think being specific does not have to overcomplicate. Now there's like obviously like this like,
I mean,
there's a point where that those complexity and specificity are going to like intersect, and it's going to be like overwhelming. But being able to differentiate when a plan feels complex to when it feels detailed, and knowing how to utilize those.
Well, detail should increase and enhance clarity.
Right.
Like, the detail should tell me who, what, where, when, why, how.
Yeah.
It should not have me sitting over here trying to calculate, you know, what does that mean and how much bread and whatever, because now I'm confused.
Right.
If the extra information that you're giving is confusing, then it's making it overly complex for no reason.
Word.
And I think that's also what people say, that, like, the smartest people can take really complex topics and make them really simple. I think, like, systems are not the place to flex and show off, like, how creative and cool you are. It is to make things more accessible to the least resourced person.
Right. that is not the space to be throwing out every element of jargon that you know.
I cannot stand when that comes up. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Not an opportunity to use jargon. It's just an opportunity to be as clear and as specific as you possibly can be.
Yeah, and don't reference things that are not, like, systems a lot of times end up being repetitive because they should be standalone.
Yeah.
I should not have to exit out of whatever it is that I'm looking at to go and reference some other material that's somewhere else to understand, then come back to that. Like, it should be self-contained.
Yeah.
And so the detail should also provide all of the information needed to complete the task.
100%.
Yeah, so, I don't know, like, I think that systems are really important, and I think most places recognize that and have them. But I think that reviewing systems and remembering what the point of them is and should happen on, like, an ongoing basis. And places to, like, look are, like, your newest members of things. Like, they have fresh eyes. Use that. I think that is something I've never had done. Like, I've always had, like, an orientation, like, survey where it's like, did they tell you stuff? But I've never had somebody after be like, what did we miss? Or what questions did you have that weren't answered? Or, like, even writing down the questions that you're asked all the time and recognizing, like, that is something that people don't know can help enhance. But I think we just get so, tunnel vision on stuff like that.
And I think it's also, in addition to, like, what you were saying, it's important to go to the people who have been a part of the organization for, an extended period of time, that you go to, like, the person with the most seniority, because odds are, if they're doing something different, there is a really good reason as to, like, why they're doing things differently.
Especially if it's, like, your best people.
100%.
And they're doing stuff different, it's because they've cracked the code.
Right. And sometimes, like, the people who are not even your best employees will have some level of insight. And if you can understand why they did not want to follow the system,
you can make it better.
You can make it better. It gives you feedback on how to get buy-in earlier on. And it also will hopefully give you feedback on how to integrate a new system in when you have had people working for you for a minute who maybe are unwilling or don't see the benefit in adopting a new system.
Yeah, well, and nobody should be caught off guard by system change.
For sure.
Like, if you're gonna, if you have to start asking an additional question because of funding, you could probably just roll that out and say, like, hey, we have to ask about this. This is for a funder. And then everybody just starts doing it. But if it's like, from now on, the entrance to the building is over here, and you're going to go through this, like, multi-step process before you start your day, people should know that that's coming while the system is being developed. And is that efficient? No. Is it convenient? Probably not. But does it increase the likelihood that people will do it when everything is said and done? Absolutely.
I think people are far more likely to buy into a system if they understand the why.
Yeah, especially, I mean, like, I think there's certain flavors of people that are more caught up on that. Like, I know for me and a lot of, like, neurodivergent people, if we don't get it, like, I will keep asking questions until I understand it, not because I'm combative, but because I'm not going to do something that I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how, and, like, it doesn't feel right with my value. Like, just, I have a lot of barriers to just, like, following orders. And I think there's a decent amount of people that are like that are like, okay, I hear you, but I don't get it. And people need time to understand. There should be, like, a period between, hey, we have this new goal, and hey, this is how we're solving it, that involves the people that are most impacted.
For sure.
Yeah.
Bam.
Cool. So if you're recognizing that your systems suck and you need help, we are looking for the fall right now, booking out some work to do with people. So if that's something that you're into, you can email us at hello@drsocialclub.com.
Join the social club.
Yeah, join us.
You might even get a free t-shirt.
We bring ice cream.
We do.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Should we get into our weekly report?
Our monthly report at this point.
We can backdate a couple. It was 3 weeks.
Okay. Not the worst. I have to check.
Close to a month.
Books I've read.
So if you are new here or want a reminder on what a report is, it's an acronym. It stands for what we're reading,
eating,
playing,
obsessing over,
recommending,
and treating ourselves too.
I don't know if we were going to make it through that one.
We're good.
All right. So, my love, what have you been reading?
Okay, so I think I was reading The Wives maybe the last time
Okay.
that we recorded. It might have been An Honest Lie. I'm not sure. So since whenever I've read An Honest Lie by Taryn Fisher, The Wrong Family by Taryn Fisher, that was a crazy one. And then a book called A Killing Cold, that was kind of nuts also.
23 books, babe.
So I have 7 more for the year to reach my goal of 30. I did start a different book, but I didn't like it, which I haven't actually had happen this year yet, where I was just like, I'm just not feeling this, but that happened. So right now I'm ahead by 5 books.
Yeah.
And that's what I read.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't read anything. No, I maybe read a couple pages here and there.
And which one are you reading? This Girl? No, I think I'm reading This Girl.
It's Colleen Hoover. I don't know. It's the one about the undercover cop. Too Late.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're reading Too Late.
I'm reading that. I've honestly been reading a lot of people's websites because we are inviting people to be vendors at Diverse Fest, which is the festival thing.
You should talk about that in case there's local people listening.
Yeah. So we've been reaching out to a lot of different organizations that we think would be great fits to be vendors at Diverse Fest. Diverse Fest is an annual community festival that is put on by the Harvest Sarasota, and the goal really is to create inclusion, community, and as part of we are co-chairs of the planning committee. And we really as a committee wanted to create a space where people felt connected to the community, that we didn't want it to feel like a space where you just came and hung out for an hour and got some free trinkets that you're never going to use again. But we wanted people to meet organizations, businesses, nonprofits in the community that they could feel connected to, seen by, or at least understood by.
And to meet other people that have the same interests as them.
100%.
I think that is one of the things that we've noticed as we've gone to different events and things like that, is there used to be this kind of communal facilitating thing that happened, especially growing up in the Midwest. It happened a lot more, where if there were people just kind of standing around, you often would just talk to strangers and be like, hey, I like your shirt, and it would start conversations. And I don't know if it's just Florida or what, but I noticed it when we were in West Palm too. The Floridians are not small talkers. You can always tell when somebody is from out of town because they're like, hey, and I'm like, yes, hello. And I don't know, I think COVID and technology and people being weird and, acts of violence and things like that.
A lack of safety
in our communities has made a lot of people, ourselves included, more hesitant to engage with strangers.
Yeah.
But we do have hope that there are ways that we can do that safely.
Yeah.
And we are hoping that this event is kind of our first larger scale event planning experiences. I think we've been surprised at the skills we already had that help in kind of implementing. So it's not as huge of a learning curve, but I think it's been interesting and really fun to kind of hone in those skills, but also recognize that there's a lot of moving parts that go into building a strong identity in a community, and we're excited that we get to be a part of that.
Yeah, well, if you're in the Sarasota, Bradenton, or honestly the Tampa area,
Fort Myers.
Yeah, we have probably read your website.
And if we haven't, but you are wow, this is me, you should also email us. Yeah. Because we are looking for vendors.
Vendors, sponsors, if you want to donate.
Food trucks.
Yeah, if you have interest in volunteering.
Yeah,
reach out, because we want this to be a space where people feel seen, understood, and safe.
Yeah, and the start of relationships. We recognize that you're not going to build a whole community in one day, but I know that that's a big barrier that so many people have been talking about, is just feeling lonely.
Yeah.
And this is an opportunity to kind of combat some of that.
Because you get to hang out with us and we're pretty cool.
Yeah. We'll be there.
Yeah. Diversefest.com is the website.
Yes.
You can apply to be a vendor, you can reach out to be a sponsor, and you should be able to sign up to volunteer on the website too.
Yeah.
So that's honestly what I've been reading, is websites. eating. Oh, okay. Chill bros.
Carry on.
Chill bros. What can I say?
Chill Bros, we love you. Work with us.
Please.
We would love a collab.
So Chill Bros is an ice cream shop in the Tampa Bay area, we are both huge fans of.
Yes.
We just love their ice cream. And they did a collab with Wright's Gourmet House, which, again, another dream collab.
That's in Tampa.
Is also
if
in
you're
Tampa.
a Tampa person.
And they make something called an alpine cake, which is yellow cake, chocolate frosting with like white chocolate like shaving curls on it. It is quite honestly one of the best cakes ever. And
Emily has like high standards for cake. This is not like a normal cake eater. This is like a connoisseur.
So good. And Wrights and Chill Bros did a collab where Chill Bros made an ice cream of the alpine cake.
Sure did.
So good. It's like eating. It's
like cake and ice cream.
It had chunks of cake in it. It's got frosting in it. The ice cream is delicious on its own. So, 2 Fridays ago, my mom and I went up to Tampa and we stocked up on the collab plus some other Chill Bros flavors.
Stocked up is loose. I think you purchased, but like stocked up would be that our outside freezer was full.
Okay.
And we are empty.
We've gone through about 3 out of 4 pints already.
Dessert o'clock has been happening in our house.
But it truly is like some of the best ice cream. And so that I brought back for our house one of the Wright's cake collab. Mm-hmm. I brought back a rocket pop sorbet,
which was excellent. Like bomb pop, they like hand scooped the different colors to make sure that everything was like layered and good, and it didn't have any like food dyes or anything in it, which is great for me with having POTS.
I brought back bonfire s'mores and mint stracciatella.
Yes, I don't love cake, so but like that one was pretty good. But all of them.
We also brought back cakes.
Oh yeah. So, yeah, good stuff. Like it was very good.
Chill Bros, collab with us.
Yes, I'm going to talk about another collab that we would love, but I'm not promoting. This is like I am promoting, but not for like an ad. So we were getting HelloFresh for about a year. Mm-hmm. And well, honestly, when we first started dating, we also had it then.
Yeah.
And I have done it like back in like 2018 or something. So been a long time like HelloFresh user, which I really like them. I like them as a brand. I think that they like are good. But a lot of their meals sometimes get repetitive, and we just like weren't feeling it anymore. And so we took a break, but we were really struggling too.
We just weren't going to the grocery store.
Yeah, we weren't going to the grocery store, and like the mental effort I think that goes into like
meal planning was
just a lot.
Yeah.
I think it was a big jump to go from HelloFresh to nothing.
Shout out to all the chefs who are curating a menu because that is difficult.
Yeah, yes, power to you. And so we started talking about like wanting to kind of address that a little bit and not just keep like vibing and having girl dinners. So Emily did some research and found Marley Spoon. Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk about like why you picked it, like why that stuck out compared to like the other ones?
They had like really good like consumer ratings. I also really liked that they had the option to do like a more Mediterranean style diet, and like we talk a lot in our house about how like at this point in time of our life like we are unwilling to fully cut out like processed foods in our house. Like we don't have like junk food. We're not.
Oh yeah, like we're gonna keep eating junk food.
We're gonna keep eating junk food, but we want like the main like nutrients we are putting in our body to like come from like mostly like whole foods.
Well, we want to feel good after we eat.
Yeah, and so they had a lot of like options, like unique like menu choices, and just like a lot of different options to me that seemed like they were prioritizing like freshness.
Yeah, and Martha Stewart is like
their spokesperson.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so they had like a lot of different like options, and I think especially for like helping manage her chronic illness, the more fresh food we have in the house, especially for like our main meals, the more comfortable I feel.
Yeah, and so we've only done it for like a week now, and we got 4 meals. They're like recipes compared to a lot of other places. They had a ton of variety.
Mm-hmm.
And something that I thought was cool about their menus were that there's like a certain, when you have like a subscription, there's a certain dollar amount that you have to reach, not a certain number of meals. And so they also sell like groceries.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you look at the meals and you're like, wow, I don't really like any of this, but I do want some peaches or whatever, like you can get them. And most of their stuff is like pretty like seasonal, so they're focusing on like what is already naturally in season. The whole box was basically like meat, vegetables, and then like
a few bread
like there
products.
was like buns because we got burgers.
Yeah.
But everything has tasted so good.
Yeah, just the quality. And like the recipes I found are like not complex, but they're maybe like a little more challenging than like the HelloFresh ones. Like I know like, and I think they incorporate from a lot of different like cultures.
Yeah.
We have I think in one of our boxes we have like West African like chicken thighs.
Yeah, something like that.
Coming in, or like we have more like Mediterranean food or like more Asian food one week. And so there's a lot of variety that I was like pretty happy with when I was looking at the menu.
Yeah, and I think I was really getting tired of like broccoli with HelloFresh, and I feel like there's more vegetables, like more different options and stuff that like you wouldn't really think to put together, but that we have, and it's been good.
Yeah.
So that's my eating.
So if you want a discounted box and you know and you know us in real life,
or if you email us, but there's not a code. There's not a code. You have to like actually. Oh, maybe I'll do a mini chat.
Oh, perfect.
I'll do an automation.
Yeah. So if you want to try it out, we are not sponsored.
Yeah, but
we're open to it.
If a lot of people go and use our code, maybe we will be. So
we will be. Playing. We went to Disney on Friday.
We did.
We had a Disney day with my mom. And
we went to Animal Kingdom.
We did go to Animal Kingdom. If you know us, you know that we love Bluey. And they, like, redid a section of, like, the conservation station. So, like, you have to take a train to it. But it's, like, Bluey-themed now. And the characters have, like, a dance party.
It's cute.
It's like, super cute. They have, like, a walk-around kangaroo and wallaby exhibit. So and we got to, like, walk through and, like, be actually, like, close to them. You can't touch them. You really want to.
But they had babies.
Yeah. And so it was just, like, super cute. And the zookeepers that were there were just like so knowledgeable and excited to talk about their animals.
Cool.
So we got to like ask a bunch of questions and like learn about like the difference between kangaroos and wallabies.
Isn't there like 80 species of wallabies, she said? Or 30? Oh, okay.
She said there were 30 different species of wallabies.
Yeah.
But they were just like excited to talk about like the animals that they take care of, and it was just cool.
Yeah.
So that was my playing.
I
love a Disney day.
Yeah, it was good. This is a couple weeks ago. Something that we did that I thought was cool was we broke out like a puzzle. And my grandma used to do puzzles like every time we were at her house there was like a puzzle on the table and she would kind of work on it in like her free time. And I think we've talked about wanting to move away from screens a little bit. And so one day, a couple weeks ago, I like broke out the puzzle board and we spent only like a week of like doing it. It was like one of those 1,000 pieces, but it was a really nice like default activity to have around instead of like scrolling. Yeah. It was like, oh, I have a no-show. Let me go work on this puzzle. It's actually kind of weird because every time we're working on a puzzle, our internet and power go out. Yeah. Like, I don't know what that's about. I don't really want to think about it, but there have been two...
Is your grandma messing with us?
Right. Like, drastically different times of year where that has happened twice.
We just lost our internet for a couple of hours.
Yeah. Which has been fine because we had the puzzle. But... now that I'm thinking about it, that's a weird correlation.
Correlation does not equal causation.
True. So, yeah. But I think, like, I know people are calling them, like, analog activities, which feels, I don't know, it feels like I'm old or something. But having those has been nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good playing.
Obsessing. You?
Yeah. No.
Oh, you finally accepted it.
I mean, I expected it.
Ew.
And I accept it, guys. Love you. I promise. I do. Obsessing.
I really enjoyed our Saturday.
Tell everybody what we did. It was a booked and busy day.
we woke up at noon. Well, I woke up at 11. You woke up at noon.
I think I woke up at like 11:30, but yeah.
Yeah. And we spent pretty much the whole day just like talking.
In our PJs.
And we just were in our PJs. We got Tim Hortons and we just like hung out. I don't think we touched a single screen until like
it was like 9 p.m.
It was like 9 p.m. is like when I think we turned the TV on to like watch a show together.
Yeah.
But we just like spent the whole day talking.
Yeah.
And like learning about one another. Like,
yeah, like we went back and we're talking about, you know, when you first meet somebody or date them and you have that like conversation where you say like, your life story and like, learn stuff. Well, we went back and kind of did that again. But it was different because we've known each other for longer, and so different things like stuck out.
Yeah.
And it was like a nice way to understand each other's like reactions or our thoughts and perspectives on things now that we like actually know each other.
Yeah. Compared
to when we like first talked about some of those things.
Yeah.
And it sparked a lot of just different like thoughts and connections between each other, and it was a very like quality time.
Yeah. My mom, we had told my parents that that's what we did on Saturday. My mom was like, "Do you still like her?" And I was like, "I like her even more."
Yeah.
But it's like, I think that is something that I like really love about our relationship is that we don't have to like have a fight to just like sit and talk.
Yeah.
That like there wasn't anything like wrong that precipitated like, oh, we need to like sit and like figure this out.
Yeah.
It was just like we were genuinely curious about one another, and like what started as like a random question like evolved into an 8-hour discussion.
Yeah.
Which I was like just felt really grateful for.
Yeah, I think that is something, I guess, similarly that I am maybe obsessing over is in the past couple weeks, a lot has come up about the value of like unstructured time.
Yeah.
And I think everything now is like so routine and so scheduled and everything that a lot of times I like forget what it's like to be at a place without somewhere else to like need to be. And I have recognized that that's really good for like my creativity and my own mental health and that kind of thing. But I think that was a good reminder of the value that brings to relationships too. So that was Saturday, and then yesterday we had a friend over, and like we ate lunch, and then honestly just kind of like sat around. Like there were parts of the time that we were all together where like we weren't even talking. We were just kind of like existing. And I think with us always having the option to like reach for screens, that tends to be like the default, and I really like that that's something that we're moving away from. Yeah. And that I'm also encouraging a lot of my clients to move away from is like making sure that they have like 2 hours a week where they're just like alone and going and finding something to do, and it seems to be working for them too.
Yeah. Recommending.
I feel like we recommended like a bunch of stuff.
I'd recommend going to third spaces.
Or starting one if your community doesn't have it.
Yeah, I think like going into a new place, like even if it's like to just go get a coffee.
Or go to the library. If you don't, the libraries, dude, like the libraries are so good. There's so many things there. Like if you don't have a library card, you can probably get one online.
I'd highly recommend.
And they have so many, like our library system has like a pass that you can get where you can go to like shows and zoos and parks and stuff for free just by having the library card.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Go vote.
Yes.
Go vote. Recommending.
And if you are like unsure of stuff or you want to learn, the League of Women Voters, we've learned a lot from them because we went to a talk that they did. And they are present, I believe, in like every state. So if you're in the US, definitely educate yourself.
And if you're not registered to vote in the August primaries, go get registered now so that you are able to vote in November. So even if you're not 100% sold on voting, I had this conversation with one of my clients, go get registered so that you have the choice.
Yes, you want to have the option, and you can choose to not use it. I would not recommend that because our local politics actually do shape a lot of your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
More sometimes.
But we would rather you have the choice than to get to November and not have registered and the choice be made for you.
Yes. And part of strategies, like harmful political strategies, is like banking on you not using your right to vote. So if you've been feeling helpless or hopeless or whatever about the state of the world, part of the way that some of these things have been maintained is that they're assuming that you're not going to do anything about it.
Word.
Yeah, my recommending also would be to like get involved in your community. I know that we're all like so busy, and every single time we have these like diverse fest meetings or like groups for things that we're volunteering for, I swear they're like 2 hours before I'm like, I don't want to do this. Like, why am I going? Like, why did we sign up? And then 9 times out of 10, I'm leaving feeling like excited and re-energized and like connected to the local community instead of just like, you know, my house and like us. And I think being in school and everything for so long and always moving around, nowhere really felt like home. And that was a great way to start feeling like home and meeting people because it forces you to reach out and talk and get to know people. And then those people know people. And it's cool.
For sure. Treating ourselves.
Okay, well, it's Monday. So what do we want to treat ourselves to this week? I'm pretty sure this week is National, like, S'mores Day somewhere in here, so we could have s'mores.
Yeah. My mom sent me a whole thing from King Arthur about s'mores stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take a look at that and decide what I'm treating myself.
Yeah, stay tuned. Oh, and on Wednesday, we are going to a sound bath.
Yeah.
And we love sound baths in this house.
Mm-hmm.
We could do a whole episode on the woo-woo stuff that we like.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's what we're doing.
Yeah. What's your guys' report?
Tell us.
Drop it in the comments.
Steven's the only one that's given us one.
I know.
So, be like Steven.
Okay.
Oh, that's that.
Well, thanks for talking shop with us.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.